Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Praetorian and welcome to Hearts of Iron 4. Today we're going to be looking at the 1.3 Torch patch and the accompanying DLC, Together for Victory. We're going to be going over the patch notes and just looking at the many changes that have been brought in this DLC and in this patch. And as we go down that list of changes, I'm going to be telling you guys my thoughts on them. Also just discussing how it's going to impact the game and your strategies. And then we're also going to take a look at many of these things in the game here, just trying to get a good, especially some of the UI changes, some of the new features. I think it'd be really helpful to take a look at these. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to be playing as the United Kingdom, I think, because the Together for Victory DLC is heavily based on these 5 Commonwealth powers here. There's a lot of new flavor stuff to them, and we're going to look at all that here in a minute. But I think looking at the UK would be good because they do have all of those countries underneath them, and there's some big changes to the way that subjects work, guys, with this whole new autonomy system. So let's go and get started. All right, we are loaded up into the game. We are looking at the glorious United Kingdom here. I would like to just kind of brief you guys on what we're looking at in time-wise. Originally, when I put this into Microsoft Word, it was 6 pages long. Well, I cut it down. We're going to only discuss, most of the more major stuff, just things I think are important. I'm not going to say major things, because there are definitely some smaller things we're going to be looking at, but the things that I think are more important here. And then we're not going to discuss certain categories, and when we get to that, I will go ahead and cover that. So I've cut it down to 3 pages, guys, and every time I switch pages, if you don't hear it, I will let you know so you'll know exactly where we're at on these patch notes here. All right, so the first page here, we're going to be looking at the Together for Victory expansion changes here, the things that you're only going to get with the paid DLC Together for Victory. I usually don't cover this in the patch notes, guys, because I always plan on doing something else with it, like a review or something like that, but I never do, so I figure we might as well go ahead and cover this in the patch notes so that you know exactly what you're getting when you pay for this expansion, guys, and whether that's going to be worth it to you or not. First of all, new focus trees, generals, and ministers for Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and India, or British Raj if you prefer, including alternate history paths. So yeah, this is really cool. This is one of the major changes here. Just a lot more flavor. We're going to see different generals, different ministers for those countries, and the focus trees. That's the big one, guys. They each have their own unique focus trees now, so they're not going to be using those generic ones that everybody has to use. So far, what I've seen is they are really, really good, guys. Paradox did a fantastic job on these national focus trees. I'm really liking them. I've kind of looked in detail of 3 of the 5 so far, and so far everything I've seen is great. Actually, if I'm going to be honest, they are far better than the focus trees that we're going to see in the other major countries that have them, like the United Kingdom here. Their focus trees are far better than any of the other ones right now. I really hope that Paradox, I don't know whenever they get around to doing it, but that they come back and update the starting national focus trees for these major countries, because yeah, as I said, the new ones are, I don't know, I like them better. I think they're a lot cooler. So let's move along here. 19 new 3D models for Commonwealth infantry, planes, and equipment, as well as accompanying 2D art. So yeah, you're going to see the 2D art when you're looking at your research here for all of the new equipment for those guys, for those Commonwealth countries, and then also you're going to see it on the map. Of course, you can't look at it here because we're not looking at those Commonwealth countries, but yeah, it's pretty cool. You have new art, and the most importantly, that this is inside of the DLC. Paradox is kind of breaking away from the mold so far that they've been working with for a while, where you have to buy a lot of the art and a lot of the graphic packs, a lot of the units and stuff. You got to buy that separately, and that's contained within the DLC, which I think is fantastic. I hate having to buy it separately, and it does feel like you pay more money. So I think it's a pretty good deal that you're getting those models inside there. Of course, if you don't use the 3D models, then you probably don't care about this, but I like them. So next up, new autonomy system where a nation's autonomy can move between annex, integrated puppet, colony, dominion, or free with different effects. All right, so when we move on up here, you're not going to see anything for our country because we're a free country, so we don't have this little meter that I would be able to show you if we were playing as a dominion or a colony. But the reason why I chose UK is because we can see all of our subjects using this little button here, this little handy dandy button, manage subjects, and this is what you would be seeing. You'd have one of these bars over here if you were playing as, say, Australia or any other country that is a subject country. Now, when this bar goes all the way down, down, then they'll change to the lower category. So this is a dominion here. Australia is a dominion, as you can see right here. And when we hover over dominion, we'll see the effects of dominion: cannot declare wars, cannot decline call to war, and they extend trade to overlord plus 25% and a trade bonus of plus 75%. And it's different for each one. The colony is, of course, going to be a lot different as well. You can see like master can build construction on the subject's territory, and we're going to be looking at those kind of changes here in a minute. But yeah, a lot different things, bonuses here for a colony, and same with an integrated puppet over here. And when this bar goes all the way down, and I haven't actually seen this in game yet, so I don't know if anything else is required or if it's just the moment it goes down or how that actually works, but essentially they would move to the lower level. So this dominion would become a colony. Now, if the bar goes all the way up here, then the dominion would become a free country here, and that goes that way for all of them. They can move to lower and upper statuses here. Now, when we're hovering on this bar, we can see all the effects of autonomy, why that is ticking up or ticking down. Very, very useful here. It's just a lot. It's just a much cooler system. I really enjoy it so far, what I've seen of it. Overall, I think it's a very good change, and this is all part of the DLC, and I think that this alone really is something that you're going to want to purchase the DLC for, just because this is a really cool feature. It's probably one of my favorite of the actual DLC, maybe not the patch. So moving along now, masters can now recruit subject forces, and we kind of saw that over here. But yeah, you can look inside when you're looking in your templates here, in your division designer. Actually, my bad. We want to click right here to click to view the templates of our subjects. We can look at the British Raj and British Malaya because we can't do it in the dominions. But yeah, when you select that, you'll be able to see all of their division designs, which is really, really cool. You can also copy that if you so desired. So you had that down here and you can train them up, just their units here. And that is their division. And by the way, guys, it is their division. Unlike if you were to build it, it's not like you're just building it in your own land, taking their designs, because why would you want to do that? The AI's designs are always pretty shoddy, so there would be no reason to do that. However, you're actually building this in their lands, guys. So we're looking at the British Raj here. We can build these units in the British Raj. It's going to train over here. I believe that uses their equipment and their manpower too, though I'm not positive on that. I would have to look it up again. But yeah, it's really cool that it's going to deploy over here. This gives the UK the ability to deploy troops in their colonies and not have to build all the way in the homeland and then send them all the way across the world over here. Yeah, really, really cool change. Of course, like I said, you can't do that in the dominions. So that would be one reason why you'd want to have those country state colonies. Masters can build in subjects' territory. Another really awesome change here, guys. We can just build anything we want over here. We could build, their infrastructure up. We could put air bases in here. Radar station. You can do factories. You can do all of this stuff. Naval bases. Anything that you can build in your own provinces. From what I've seen, you can build it in your subjects' countries. Now, this is a huge change, guys. Remember, it's only part of the DLC as well. And the reason why this is such a big change is I often don't want to fight from my subjects' territories because of the supply issues. The supply issues are huge because they don't build their infrastructure up. So I'm trying to invade, let's say I want to puppet Poland. Well, I don't want to do that if I want to invade the Soviet Union because then I got to deal with the problem with the infrastructure here, and I can't build the air bases up, so I have plenty of planes. This is a big deal, guys. I'm really, really liking this change. Just fantastic. It's going to make playing as the UK a hell of a lot funner, as well as a fascist power or, even a communist power that's going to be puppeting a lot of other countries. It gives you just more incentive to puppet so that you can do that. That was one of the main reasons why I didn't puppet countries sometimes. It's just because I wanted to be able to build in those states. So I really like that change. Next up, continuous national focuses are new focuses that give running bonuses. It says the basic ones are included in the patch. Okay. I'm not sure exactly what that means. I don't know if that means the DLC adds some new ones here. Perhaps. I'm not sure. They might have different ones for each country. I'm not sure. I don't know. I haven't looked at this enough, but essentially what the deal is here, guys, is that this is just national focuses that you can keep doing, and they give you these bonuses as long as you're doing them. However, they are a full national focus, and we kind of answered this question in the Let's Play that we're doing on the expansion right now. We're playing as Australia, and yeah, we kind of ran into this. I was curious, can you run one of these with a regular national focus? And you cannot. This does take that slot. So essentially, with the role goal of this is for once you get the full national focus tree wrapped up, there's nothing else to research or nothing that you even care about anymore. Normally, then you just have that political power just stacking up, and you can use it elsewhere, but sometimes there's really nowhere else to use it, especially if you're playing as like a democratic country. So yeah, this will give you something to do, and you can just pick whichever one fits you. We got naval production, air production, construction, engineering, army. You can just kind of take a look. I'll hover over these so you guys can kind of see what they each do here. But yeah, really great change. I love this. Once again, this is part of the DLC here, though it does say that the basic ones are included in the patch, so perhaps you might have access to some of these. I'm not sure. I don't know if they get unique ones for each country. I don't know. If you guys happen to know that, I would love to hear from you guys, because I'm actually not entirely sure about that. That kind of threw me off. All right, so let's move along. A land battle log giving you history and statistics of combats for theater. Basic history list has been included in the patch. So once again, this is something where you're getting some of it, I guess, with just the patch, but you're not getting all of it unless you buy the DLC. And the way that we look at this is I actually need a theater here selected. And I don't have one yet, so let's go ahead and just craft one real quick, build one up here really quick. This should be simple, and you're gonna see a little button here, which you're gonna notice this entire UI here has changed. You're gonna click on the settings. You still have access to this. This is essentially the same here, but we're gonna see a lot of different stuff here, and we're gonna go over that in the patch notes, so I won't talk about it now. Let's just talk about this combat log here. The combat log, you can show the data for however many months you want to go. It looks like 12 months might be the longest. I'm not sure if it goes back any further. It looks like that's as far as it goes. But yeah, you can look at the combat, you can look at the manpower loss, you can also see the equipment loss, and it shows you what has been lost from actual battle and what has been lost from attrition. So very useful. You can look at the equipment that you've lost. You can look at the division templates that have been fighting, their win ratio, the combats. This is just so useful, guys. You can also specifically look at just particular, because this is for the whole theater. You could just look at for one of these armies here if you so desired. Let's just take a look here. Let's show this again. So you have both selected right now. None of them selected here. Let's say we just wanted to look at this army. We can do that and look at how their division templates have been doing. Maybe you're planning for strategy. See which one of your division templates are doing the most damage, which ones are taking heavy, maybe they're taking heavy losses of attrition, a particular division, and you're like, oh, maybe I should add some logistics company there so that we don't take so much attrition there. It's just so great here. I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I do not think that this combat log should be part of the DLC. I don't think this should be paid for. I find it far too important for you to have to pay for this to get it. I really think it should be part of the base game. It should be in the patch. That's just my opinion. I know that Paradox doesn't even charge for things, but I think that this is one of those things that I think is too important to not have in a base game. That's just my opinion, though. But it's really awesome. It's just stats. It's not a new mechanic or anything. It just shows you stats, but it's great. That's how you plan. That's how you plan strategies. You need to be able to see how your units are doing and what the losses you're taking. Yeah, just awesome. I love it. It's great. A new Spearhead battle plan command where units will aggressively take only marked provinces. This is great for encirclements and using the BP tool. Okay, so this is just a new, and you're hearing one of the features there, which is really cool, guys. But anyway, here we go. We got the Spearhead. It used to be called Blitzkrieg, but they changed it to Spearhead. I guess, I don't know why, maybe because they thought Blitzkrieg was too German-centric. I don't know. But yeah, they changed it to Spearhead here. And yeah, you just draw it out. It's lines that you're going to be drawing out just as you would. I suppose we can get like a line here just to kind of test it out. But yeah, you would just draw it the same way as you would any other one. So we can kind of go like so, and then you just have them, they'll just burst through here. But yeah, just a really interesting mechanic. It makes your units try and shoot, not worry so much about the line and extending the line out, and just trying to create pockets to surround units. That's the most important part, is that you're going to use it so that you can surround units and get them cut off on supply and overrun them. It's something that was sorely needed. Once again, guys, I know Paradox needs a charge for things, but this is another one that I feel should have been in the base game, and I really don't think should be part of the DLC, but that's just my opinion. Maybe you guys feel differently, and if you do, sound off in the comments. But I think that these two that we just went over here, which is interesting that they're right next to each other, but I feel like these are two things that should really have been in the patch. Ability to request Lend-Lease from other nations. This one's fantastic because AI never ever offers Lend-Lease. I've been playing this game now for a year. over a year now. And I have never seen the AI offer Lend-Lease to me or to anybody else. I'm not saying they don't do it, but I've never seen it for a year of playing this game to never see Lend-Lease offered. So that is a great feature that we can now request Lend-Lease from, let's say, I don't know, America over here sitting here not doing nothing, not getting involved in the war with all their production. Yeah, maybe you guys should send me some tanks or something like they did historically. This is fantastic, guys. I remember I was playing my China campaign and we were having some serious issue with equipment and stuff, and it would have been awesome if I could have been asking the allies for some help. It would have been great, because that's historically what happened. The Chinese only were able to continue the war against Japanese, and though obviously they didn't do fantastic against them, but they were only able to continue the war and keep fighting because they were getting a limited supply of equipment from the Allies and the Soviet Union. So that's great. I'm really happy to see that added. I think that's fantastic. It's really going to help smaller powers when you're playing as a minor power. A technology sharing system where members of the Commonwealth or factions can benefit from each other's technological advances. Another reason to pick UK here is that we can go ahead and take a look at this. It's actually going to be in the research screen. You're going to hover right over here, Commonwealth Research. You're going to see each member with a tech reduces time by 10%. That can actually change through the national focuses. A lot of national focuses for the Commonwealth nations, I'm going to guess that UK might not have any, which would be unfortunate, because I would hope that they would change the national focuses of the UK so that they have some bonuses as well. But a lot of the Commonwealth states, they have national focuses that actually increase that, so that you'll see like you're getting like 15% bonus or 20% bonus for that tech reduction. Now right underneath that, you're going to see research opportunities. You're going to have all the countries here in this particular case that are in the Commonwealth, and you see the first one, Australia, 10 technologies. That means Australia has 10 technologies that they can get that 10% reduction of tech for. Those are technologies that other countries in the Commonwealth have that they do not. Look at the British Raj, of course, that they are the ones that are furthest behind in technology. They're going to get 21. They have 21 techs that they can get that bonus towards. And remember, like I said, you can increase that. I don't know if the UK can, but a lot of the other Commonwealth countries do have that nice bonuses. So this is just really great. I really love that. It gives you an added bonus to remain in the Commonwealth. It's going to help you tech a little bit faster. Maybe a reason why you don't want to leave the Commonwealth. Moving along now, you can now release a nation as a puppet and decide to continue playing as it. That's one that a lot of the other Paradox games have. You can release that and just say there's certain countries in the game that do not exist at start, but maybe you want to play as them. Now you can do that, and you can specifically say, I want to play as that country. So that's really, really cool. I think I can show that here because they do have a lot of territories here that we can release. Let's say we wanted to release, let's pick Egypt, because Egypt is cool. That's always a country that I would like to play as here in Hearts of Iron. I've been thinking about it. I know that there's some really good mods that add new national focus for them. But yeah, we can release them as a puppet if we so desire. We can uncheck that and just release them, or we can click to release them as a puppet and play as them. Any combination here, which is really, really cool. So we can even play as them as a free country if we so desired. So yeah, that's awesome. I like that change. 3 new Commonwealth themed music tracks by composer Andreas Waldetoft. I don't know if I'm saying it. Sorry if I butchered your name. But yeah, 3 new songs, which is great. You always want new music. That's part of the DLC though. And like I said, I'm just glad that these are added in the DLC. We're not having to pay for each little part. I really don't like doing that. So I'm glad that the music is inside the DLC. I can't really tell you how good those songs are. I mean, all his music is really good in my opinion. But yeah, I think that they would be up to the normal quality that he usually does. Voiceover sound for infantry units in German, French, Italian, British English, American English, Spanish, Russian, Mandarin, Japanese, Danish, Finnish, Norwegian, and Swedish languages. This is what we saw earlier. When you click on units, they talk. Did you hear that, guys? They talk in their native language. And they have several things that they can say based on what you're telling them to do. See, if I tell them to move somewhere, it's a different thing they're saying. Just really, really cool, guys. Just adds so much flavor to it, just so much immersion to it. I really, really like it. I love that they did it in their own languages too. Yeah, that's just cool. All right, so that's all the features of the DLC, and I think there's some really good stuff there. If you want to pay for it, the DLC is $15, $14.99, I believe, and really whether you deem these features to be worth that is just based on how you value them and how you value money. We all have different preferences on it, so I'm not going to tell you whether this DLC is worth purchasing it. I personally love these changes. I think they're great. Some of them I think should be in the free patch. However, I think that this is an expansion that is definitely worth the purchase. Just whether you think that you should get it at full price or whether you should wait till sell, that is really something that you have to determine for yourself. So moving along now, we're going to move to the next category here is the free features and important features here. It just says free. It should just say free important features, I suppose. So features now indicate number of attacking and defending combat with color for status. That's right here, guys. We see these no offensive combats, no defensive combats. Yeah, this is obviously can't show this because we're not in battle right now, but that's interesting. It does show you for all the theaters, and you can kind of just get a good gauge in all your theaters how things are going. I really like that. I think that's a good change. Anything to make information easier to see without having to go all around the world to look at every single theater and how things are actually developing. So that's fantastic. Can now configure garrison order for what to guard. All right, so when we click on our army, we have our garrison button here, just as usual, where you'd click on that and then you'd assign garrisons here. So let's say we wanted to have them garrison London. We'll just have them. We wanted them to garrison this entire coast here. Damn it, because we want them to protect against a possible invasion by Germany. Then you'll see we have extra little buttons here where we can tell them specifically what we want them to guard. This is fantastic. We can have them just look at this here, and it tells you how many divisions they say they're going to need. So to guard the victory points, we're going to need 6. And they say we want to guard naval bases, coastline, guard the forts, air bases, and to lower resistance. So main thing I use my garrison for is lower resistance. If that's all I want from them, I could just click on this, and it's going to tell me exactly how many divisions they need, so I know whether I need to assign more or not. This is fantastic. I love this. Another thing that you often had problems with is if I want them to garrison the coast here. Maybe I just want them garrison the coast. I don't really care about the inner cities. Because I'm trying to attempt to defend against a naval invasion, I just want them on the coast. I couldn't do that before. Now you can. You can just tell them to go guard the coastline. They're going to need 19 divisions to get this whole coastline guarded. Maybe you know that you don't have enough divisions to guard the whole coastline, and you just want the actual naval bases guarded, so that they can't take a base, so they can land, but they don't have any supply. Maybe that's how you feel. I often do that if you're China. Maybe that's going to be what you want to do there. So you know that you only need 6 divisions to guard those bases. This is just so cool, guys. I absolutely love this feature here. Just makes garrisons work so much better. Can now edit existing lend-lease details. So let's say you have a lend-lease already going, you can go into that and edit rather than having to cancel the lend-lease and start a new one. So that's a nice little quality of life change. Added cosmetic tags for European states that are puppets of Germany. Also added them for East European states that are puppets of the Soviet Union and a number of British colonies. So these cosmetic tags, basically what they are here, they don't really mention on the patch notes, but they did covered it in a developer diary. And basically what a cosmetic tag is it tells the game to use a certain name and flag for a country when particular conditions are met. So when certain triggers return true, then it's going to use that flag and that country title, and that's pretty much all it changes. It just lets it be a little bit more dynamic. It's really, really cool. For instance, if we shoot over here to our countries over here, you're going to see British Malaysia, you're going to see Dutch East Indies. This is all part of that, and there's also some over here in Germany and Eastern Europe. I think they did. Well, we're going to cover that, but I think it's Ukraine and Belarus have some interesting names there. And it's also great for modders. It's going to add a lot for modders. So yeah, that's a good change as well. Added a new type of equipment design company, support units. Now we saw this in our Australia one. I was actually really surprised to see this because I didn't know that this was in the patch here. And I don't actually know that we have access to that here. And I think it's in the material designer. So if we did have access to it, which we don't, but basically it gives you the same bonuses that you get here, the tech bonuses, except for it's going to be specifically for your support equipments here, your support companies, which is great because there's a lot of them. So this is something that's actually, I think, what we ended up getting in our Australia campaign because I thought it was a good idea. Added Manchukuo to the game. May God have mercy on all of us. Also a bunch of other nations. So that's going to be over here in Japan. They're going to be a subject country of, specifically, they are an integrated puppet of Japan. And the reason why they didn't have them before, and the reason why he's saying on the patch notes, God have mercy on our soul, is because this was actually breaking Japan, and Japan could not fight China effectively when they didn't have control of this. I'm not sure exactly what the issues were, but they fixed those issues. So now they can have Manchukuo into the game. And I'm sorry once again if I'm pronouncing that wrong, guys. I'm terrible at pronunciation. But yeah, so this is a pretty cool little change here. I guess they got whatever the problem was. It's been fixed. Added an achievement viewer for all of you achievement hunters. I can't click on it because I'm not playing an Iron Man right now, but if you click on this, it just shows you a list of all the achievements. So you can see them in the game here. I mean, that's fantastic. You don't have to go out, or I guess you could just go into Steam, but you can see it within the game. So that's fantastic for any of you guys who are the achievement hunters. Added a music player. I love this. This has been added in a lot of their other games here, so I'm glad that they got it into Hearts of Iron. So right from here, you can pause it if you just want to pause the music for whatever reason. You can go to the next track. But here's the main thing here. You're going to open the music player. You can see exactly what's playing and the amount of time that it's got left here. You can also change the volume of the music here, which is also kind of cool. You can also have a weighted shuffle, pause, and you can select, this is the great part, exactly what you want to hear, guys, and just get it playing, whatever it is that you may want to hear. So yeah, I love this. They added it in their other games, and I'm glad that they got it in Hearts of Iron, because it's just cool that you got control over the music. All right, guys, here's the big one. This is my favorite of the patch. It's absolutely minor when you think about it, but it's probably my favorite addition of the patch. Added outdated equipment alert. This is fantastic, guys. So if you're building, let's say, light tanks 1 or whatever, and I can't really press the hotkeys here because I got a piece of paper in my hand. But if just say you're building light tanks 1 or infantry equipment 1, and you get the next version of that, I don't know how many times I hop into the first thing I do is I hop into the tech to go find out what I want to research next, and then so many times I would just forget about it, especially when I'm doing Let's Play. I'm less likely to do this when I'm playing on my own, but especially when I'm doing this stuff on camera, then I'll completely forget to change the unit over to the new version. Now you get a nice alert that tells you that you're currently producing outdated equipment. You can hover over it like any of these, and it tells you exactly what it is. You can click on it. It's going to take you right to the screen. Just fantastic, guys. I absolutely love it. And there was a few other changes regarding this, but I'm going to cover this in order, so we won't talk about it just yet. Let's move along to the next one here. Added outdate. Oh, it's right here. We're already moving along to it. Added outdated and new production indicators for production view. This is just really cool. You get a little indicator here, so it's not just up here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you that. We'd have to click on show outdated equipment. You can see it's a different color here, and when we put it into this, it's going to look different. That's just great. It's just easier to tell that is an outdated equipment. So you can easily see within there that you're not currently producing with the best equipment you can, and maybe you don't want to, but I like that it tells us. It makes that more clear. Added several new generals to the game. Of course, all the Commonwealth countries, as we already covered, they're all getting new generals as well, but I think that's they made it out to be like it's part of the actual expansion for those countries, so I don't know if you're going to get that in the free patch, but what you are going to get in the free patch is the ones they added to some of the other major countries, particularly France and Italy. France and Italy both got a lot of new generals, which is awesome because they were both kind of lacking. So yeah, they got a bunch of new generals, and that's fantastic, guys. Enable player to call subjects to war, even if the player isn't the war leader. So yeah, that's great. You can now, it doesn't matter whether you're war leader or not, you can still get your subjects into that war. You don't have to wait for that war leader to do it. Buildings can now increase in cost for each level. Forts and naval forts now ramp up in cost the higher the level. So that means it's going to be harder to build, like, the Maginot Line. Of course, this one's already built up for you at the start of the game, but if you want to build something similar somewhere else, it's going to be more difficult. It's going to take more production. It's going to take more time. I think that makes sense because it's too easy to build these massive level 10 forts here. So that's fantastic. I think that's a good change. Interesting country screens can now show more interesting countries with special national focus trees. We already saw that it did show not just the major countries. It also has a little spot down there for all of the other countries that do have their own national focus trees. Air attack from AA battalions or anti-air battalions now counteract enemy air superiority effects in combat and for movement. So yeah, this is great. It's just a little modifier for air superiority. If you're to look at like the air superiority over here in one of these regions, there's just going to be a modifier to that based on the anti-air that is in this air region, and that includes the ones that are in the provinces as well as the ones in the units. So yeah, that's a nice addition. Just kind of buffs anti-air a little bit. So you may want to consider adding them into your divisions for more than just their hardness attack or their piercing or something. You might actually want to add them for shooting down planes or for actually helping with that. War score system now uses combats instead of just taking provinces, and this gives a lot less to reward nations. So yeah, now it's actually going to consider combat a lot more. It's not just about taking a bunch of provinces, just trying to take all this. You're Japan and you're just taking over a massive amount of land over here, but you're not actually fighting anybody. Should you get as much credit as somebody over here actually fighting the Red Army and doing all of the work for very little land? Yeah, I don't think so. So I'm glad the war score system has been changed, adjusted to account for that. Also added 12 new achievements. Once again, for you achievement hunters, you got a little bit more work ahead of you if you want to get them all, because yeah, they've added 12 more. I haven't actually looked at them, so I can't say how good they are or whatever, but it seems like I don't really care about achievements, but if you do, you got 12 more to work towards, guys. So now that's the end of this category here. Now we're moving on to the changes to the AI. Now there was a whole crap ton of changes to the AI, guys. There's a bunch of changes, and I cut a lot of them out here. We're just going to go over the more important ones, the ones that are actually probably going to affect you the most as the player. Things I think that you should be aware of. Tweaked up base AI research factor for mechanized and lowered top level infantry weapons a little bit. So they should be a little bit better at researching mechanized troops, which is excellent. Prevented AI from researching technologies more than 1 year ahead of time. Apparently they were doing that more than 1 year ahead of time, which is stupid. That's a waste of their tech spot. Even really good stuff, I don't think you should do more than a year ahead. So that's excellent. AI's got a little bit smarter there. AI now takes research bonuses into account for picking text. Once again, great change for research. They're going to be, if they got a 50% bonus, or if something's going to take them 50 days to get, then they should probably get that before that one's going to take them 150 days. That's what a player would do. So I'm glad that AI now considers that. Fixed casting errors in AI that would make it assign troops to a non-optimal front and also cause overflows leading to random madness. I'm sure we've all seen this craziness that goes on with the fronts, and it looks like this is a lot of changes to the fronts to make them better, make the AI better at managing fronts. So yeah, that's fantastic. They're better at managing those troops and not assigning them to fronts that are not optimal. AI no longer only saves old nukes for punishing the enemy taking their own cities. So I guess when a country was attacking the AI, then they wouldn't nuke anybody else. I never ran into that issue, but I guess apparently it was an issue. Yeah, so that has been changed. Improves AI ability to adhere to supply limits. Obviously, this is extremely important. The AI does need to be aware of supply limits and be better at managing, because they lose so many troops to attrition. AI now attempts to recover when units are unable to reach desired front location. AI now attempts to detect and react to many encirclement opportunities, both against itself and against enemies, includes evacuating dangerous areas and cutting off bottlenecks. We've already seen this in the last patch, and I can definitely say that this is true, that they have done a lot of work to improving the AI's ability to not get cut off. You can still cut them off. It's still the AI, but they are better, and it looks like in this patch they're going to be even better than they were, which is excellent. I'm glad that they are changing that up. Added continent prioritization for the AI with high scores to Europe and the Pacific, but low to Africa. Obviously, this is an issue. They actually had to create a whole new system. This whole Prio system is a new system that obviously won't affect you as a player much, but it does affect the AI a lot, and I think modders even have access to it. But yeah, the AI has always just massively focused in Africa, way too much, far too many units. They pump into here with all that attrition, and it's just really not a very important area. It's not as important as, I don't know, maybe all your colonies in here where all your oil and rubber is, or perhaps Europe where your colony, where your homeland is. I think that you should probably prioritize that. And so yeah, that has hopefully fixed that issue. Moving along here, various fixes and tweaks to AI naval invasions. I've already seen this guy. The AI is already better in naval invasions. We've seen Japan do it to China. They are much better here. I think these tweaks have done some good. AI should now be capable of using rockets. I guess apparently they were not very good at rockets. I never really paid attention to their rocket use, but I guess they couldn't use them. AI sets up a couple of fleets to be used for special missions. Okay, and that is the end of the first page. We're moving on to page 2. We are kind of going slow, but we did cover those big features. I promise it does go a lot faster through these next few pages. Tweaked AI research desires. Once again, AI is getting better at research. Tons of AI front balancing work. AI randomly abandoning fronts should no longer happen, among other things. So yeah, the AI, we demonstrated this in several of our campaigns. For instance, that Sweden one, I think, was a really good testament to what was the problem with the AI. They were very, very bad at managing fronts, just completely abandoning full ones. I mean, I'll let you go. If you guys want to watch, you can go to one of the middle videos in that series and you can see what Germany did. It was a mess, and it looks like they should be better. Hopefully, this has been a huge problem for the AI in managing fronts, and hopefully they'll be better at that. Various bug fixes and improvements to AI template design. Their designs suck, let's be honest. The AI is not good at designing templates. I really hope that they have been improved in this patch. Made AI threat assessment document properly include faction members of countries that they're about to enter war with. So yeah, they should hopefully consider, when they're attacking, when Germany's attacking, I don't know, the Netherlands or something, they should hopefully consider, am I ready to go to war with with France, who might be in a faction with them or whatever. That's just an example of it, but you get the gist, guys. Tweaked naval threat invasion priority to make them more inclined to take islands, particularly with air bases and home regions. Okay, so that's interesting. They should hopefully take islands more, which can be very key for several invasions, so that you can get that air base. As you can see in our Germany campaign that we're running right now, we took these Caribbean air bases here so that we could have more airplanes for our invasion. That's great that the AI is now capable of doing that as well. Split up AI garrison order in 2, home area and other areas. Obviously, this is smart. We want this. We want the AI to prio their home area over other areas. We want that to be separate. I think they're going to be better at managing it. That's fantastic. Maybe they will protect their home area a little bit better, because AI has had some issues with that. Made AI invasion scriptability more unpredictable. Okay, so maybe their invasions are going to be less predictable. You're going to not know where they're going to be attacking, because sometimes you can exactly pinpoint precisely where they're going to attack. And if they attack there, you often know that they're going to continue to attack there over and over and over again. Scary fix that makes AI actually consider all target areas of enemy instead of one at a time. Should set Pacific area ablaze when the time comes and keep the invasions rolling. So this sounds like a huge change. Hopefully should help the AI. It looks like it's going to improve the AI. It says it's a scary fix. Maybe the AI will be a lot more challenging. That's what we're all hoping. Made sure AI is capable of calling subjects into wars even if they are not in the faction. I think that, okay, that's related to the other issue that we already read about. Made sure that coastal defense garrison order prioritizes ports over empty coast if there's not enough units to cover entire coast. So you don't actually have to tell them to not guard the naval bases if you want them to guard the whole coast, but you do want them to prioritize the naval bases, obviously, if there's not enough units. Yeah, they do that already, so that's fantastic. AI no longer spams trucks like there's some kind of war-winning super weapon. So that's great. Good change there. AI countries now will always call subjects who cannot decline into war. Fixed AI leaving military factories unassigned. I guess they were doing this. Maybe that's why they suck at production. If they're not using their military factories, then yeah, that makes sense that their production would be kind of shoddy. So I'm glad that they fixed that there. Made absolutely sure that the AI uses military factories even if it does not want to build more planes. I'm guessing there might have been a bug or something that when they did not want to build more planes, then that also made them decide they weren't going to use military factories, perhaps, because they do invest a lot of their military factories towards planes, probably far too much. I wish they had made a change to there, but I'm not seeing anything in the patch notes based on how many planes the AI is building. Stabilized AI invasion prio scores should result in invasions not swapping units around as much and randomly getting canceled. We see this all the time. You get these damn alerts that an invasion is happening, and then it never happens. It gets canceled, and then you'll get another one, and it'll get canceled. Hopefully that should be fixed. Adjusted AI weights for Germany to allow non-historical Germany to actually decide to go with China instead of Japan. So if you have non-historical focuses on, normally it seems like Germany always goes with Japan, even when it seems more strategically intelligent to go with China. Yeah, they're now capable of doing that. They got some weights for that, which is excellent. Garrison order logic was significantly improved. We're seeing a lot of improvements with the garrison. China no longer accepts puppeting with historical focuses on unless Japan is comically strong. China accepting now also adds world tension. So yeah, two big changes here. China now, when historical focuses on, they're not going to accept that unless Japan is just this beast, which I highly doubt they're going to be at that point. So you should see that Japan less often become a puppet if you're trying to get a more historical game here. And then if they do happen to accept, then you're going to get some world tension from that, which is fantastic, because that would increase world tension that this big old power of China here is now under control of Japan. AI is now blocked from putting close air support on naval bombing missions. This should help Germany and Japan a lot. So yeah, this is fantastic, because we can do that as a player. We can use our close air support if we don't have naval bombers, or if our naval bombers are just too far stretched out, we can use close air support, and we're not using them for other things, to do naval missions, and now the AI can actually do that as well, which is great. AI should no longer be able to cancel unit movement that is retreating. I didn't know they were able to do that. I'm glad that they can no longer do it. Further improvement to unit bouncing between fronts. Once again, big improvements with the fronts. AI should no longer leave civilian factories unsigned. I guess they were doing it with civilian factories as well, which is, this sucks. This this really explains, guys, why the AI has been performing so poorly for many people. And then many improvements to AI production. That's a big Achilles heel for the AI, that they just are not good at production. So hopefully they should be much better at that. All right, so that's all of the AI changes that we're going to be looking at. Next, we're going to be moving along to UI, the fancy, sexy stuff here. Focus trees. Now remember the position when closed and reset when looking at other trees. So when you open that focus tree back up, it's going to be right where you're sitting there looking at before. Diplomacy window, sort by opinion, now handles reverse sort. So, if you're just looking at the diplomacy over here and you just wanted to flip these or whatever, you can do that. Subject view, managed occupation, and ideal sub-windows and politics view are now mutually exclusive and won't stack on top of each other. So it looks like you can no longer, as you see, they close as you open them. So you can't have them all open at the same time. Added new icon to division modifiers in combat to highlight AA support. That's once again, the fact that the AA has those extra bonuses now. Setting up Lend-Lease no longer says convoys are needed always, even when they are not. Trade interface no longer incorrectly states that you need convoys when you don't. So yeah, that's going to help just because sometimes it can be kind of confusing when you're trading and doing Lend-Lease when you need convoys and when you don't, because sometimes it's just always stating whether you're the one trading for or the other country was. It always was stating that you needed convoys when you only need it in one particular instance. So that was a bug that was fixed specifically in that trade interface, in our trade screen here. Straight map icons no longer eat drag boxes and zooming. I suppose there was some issues here when you have the straight icons. I don't know. We'd have to switch to naval, I believe, to be able to see that. But yeah, now I guess, I don't know, it was some issue or something when you're dragging and when you're zooming and stuff, and it's no longer apparent. I don't even recall noticing it myself. Now dangerous naval invasions alert disappears correctly when the enemy invasion fails. That's excellent. So many times, yeah, the invasion when it happens, if they fail miserably and they retreat, it's still over here and on the side here, and it can be very confusing. Sometimes you're not sure if they're sending another one. So that's great. Nice little fix there. Added in the field and in training to manpower tooltip in the top bar. So when we hover over our manpower over here, when we see before, when you saw how many were in your army, how much manpower was used by your army, how much by your air, how much by your navy. Now we can actually see how much of that's in the field and how much is in training. And the reason why this is important is there's several national focuses that do require that you have, X amount of manpower in the field, and you had no idea where you're at. Germany's a good instance. They have one that's pretty important there. But yeah, you had no idea how close you were to that because your army's saying that it's using enough manpower, but of course that's also considered training. So I'm glad they did that. That's very helpful. Changed some equipment names and fixed a lot of typos. Added glorious Manchuria leader Henry Poo Yu for the benefit of all. Map icons don't merge naval and land units ones now. Yay. That's a confusing way that was worded. Added flags for several tags. Added 4 new Indian generic leader portraits and 4 new African generic leader portraits. So yes, and some extra generic portraits for all those African and Indian countries. Around 60 new focus icons added. That's just graphics. So new graphics there for the focuses. Around 34 new national spirit icons added. Once again, more graphics. Added 108 new report and news event picks. That's fantastic. Added training indicator for armies in the theater list. This is awesome. I actually realized this almost immediately in our Let's Play, and it's so awesome. Just you click on this, and now you have a little meter here that says they're training. I love that. Let me know that these guys are training. If I just wanted a couple of them trained, I just clicked on it real quick, and then I just let them train for a year. Whenever I decide to click on that unit again, and I realize that they've been training that entire time. You can easily see that, and I love it. It's great. Good change. Added custom backgrounds and glow to show new and out-of-date items in production view. We already looked at that actually. Made selected unit and wings sexier and easier to see. Yeah, we could just click on this. Look at that. Just beautiful. Received and given military access relations are now displayed with different icons in diplomacy view. Always pause for peace conferences in multiplayer when a human player is involved. So yeah, that when they're in these long peace conferences, it's going to be paused. So nobody else is going to do anything and attack their country while they're messing with this big old peace conference. I don't play multiplayer, but that seems like a change you would definitely want. Longer range now supported for mutually exclusive national focus indicator. Resources now always shown in peace conferences. Yeah, that's great when you're at peace conference. Now you're gonna be able to see what resources are in the state at all times. Option slider for setting volume of in-game voices. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you probably would want to know that in case maybe you want to turn them all the way down. Maybe you don't like them, or if they're just too loud for you, or maybe you really want them really loud because you want your soldiers to yell at you. So that's the end of page 2. We are now moving on to page 3, guys. Improved tooltip for dismantle faction button. Okay, we can do that as the UK as well because we do have our own faction here. Dismantle faction. I'm not seeing a tooltip here. I'm hovering over this, and I'm seeing no tooltip. Okay, maybe I'm missing something here, but yeah, I'm not seeing a tooltip there. I guess maybe that's how it's improved. They removed the whole tooltip. I don't know. I don't remember what it looked like in the first place. Mixed misleading tooltip for naval invasion order. Yeah, because that's, oh god, yeah, it was confusing. Added tooltip to show total manpower of selected divisions in division list. So I believe when we click on these here, and you guys might have already noticed this, I did not. Where does it say their total manpower here? It's when we hover over this unit here, shows that total manpower here for these divisions is 75,000. That's pretty cool. I mean, you could do that before if you so desired. I mean, you could always click on this and look exactly how many manpower. I think this is easier. It's a lot easier to look at though, and you can see the entire army at the same time. Now we're moving along to databases. That's all the UI changes. There's been a bunch of database changes, and we're not going to go over all of them. There's a lot of them, but some of the more important ones. Added Pakistan as a releasable country. Always love new tags, and then we got plenty more of new ones. Angola, Botswana, Congo, Kenya, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Rhodesia as releasable countries. Added several hundred flavor names for equipment to a number of countries. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I actually had a mod that I was using that did that, and now you might not need it because it seems like there's a lot of countries that do have unique little flavor names for their equipment. Added British Malaya as a puppet of UK. We already kind of looked at that over here, but yeah, the United Kingdom is no longer directly controls this area here. Instead, it's in the hands of one of their subject states here. Added heat attrition and heat attrition factor modifiers for both country and unit leaders. So yeah, this is interesting. I believe this is a modifier that, because you take attrition when in the desert, you take extra attrition, and it looks like there's going to be maybe some traits or whatever that can, well, there already are traits. There's the Desert Fox trait that result in you taking less attrition in the desert if you have that, if I'm understanding that correctly. Added Belarus as a releasable country, which is cool. More tags. Restored Port Arthur to its proper historical significance. A decision that was not in any way related to AI performance, and any such allegations are lies. Okay. So yeah, restored Port Arthur. There's a lot of Port Arthurs in the world, but they're saying historical significance. So I'm imagining they're talking about the one in Manchuria. Yeah, I believe that's probably the one they're talking about. And that might also have something to do with them being able to add Manchukuo again. Maybe that was what the issue was with that little note that they added. I think maybe it was. But yeah, so now they've done something with Port Arthur. Added tech sharing for Tizard mission events. Tizard, I believe, is a United Kingdom one or an American one. I actually don't remember. Yeah, it's okay. It's the United Kingdom one. And so now this is going to get a nice little tech sharing bonus, which is fantastic. USA no longer eligible for general election events before 1948. It's because they already have unique elections. They have unique candidates running for election up until 1948, so they don't need the generic ones. Fix an issue where de Gaulle could be replaced as the leader of Free France for no good reason. You can't replace de Gaulle, Jesus. But I guess apparently it did that sometimes. Added colonial governor as official leader for Malaysia and Indonesia, but they are retired when breaking free here. So I'm guessing that this is their colonial governor here. And yeah, if they were no longer a colony, then they would get a new leader. Added Yemeni merchant marines, which is 5 whole convoys. So now Yemeni's going to have 5 more convoys at start. Wow, way to go, guys. Added a number of cosmetic tags for certain constellations of puppets. Yeah, once again, the cosmetic tags, we kind of discussed those already. Added cosmetic tags for German-dominated Ukraine and Belarus. Here, they just get a nice little different flag and different name. British colonies now always use British equipment names and pictures if no unique ones exist. So yeah, if you have a colony and they don't have their own unique ones, then they're going to be using Britain's. So that is all for databases. We're now moving on to the balance changes here. Increasing custom difficulty levels now also lowers the attrition units take from that nation. So yeah, that should just, if you want to increase the custom difficulties for particular countries, then they're going to take less attrition as well. Move mechanized tech levels down 1 year. So first is now unlockable in 1948. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. Yeah, they went ahead and moved these down here. So yeah, we can get the first one in 1948. Before, it was in 1941. So that's nice. You can get the mechanized a little bit quicker, guys, which is fantastic. So it looks like they also increased the hardness for all of the armor divisions. Light tanks have gone from 70 to 80%. and their variants from 40 to 50, mediums from 80 to 90, and their variants from 55 to 65, and heavy tanks from 90 to 95, and the variants 70 to 80, and then the super heavies are 95 to 99. Wow, 99% hardness for super heavy tanks here. And I just realized that I'm sitting here saying like 90% hardness and stuff. So yeah, don't judge me. Increasing hardness, they also increase the hardness of these super tank variants from 80% to 90%. So yeah, that you're gonna get, they're gonna just have a lot more hardness factor there, which is good. I think that's a good change, I guess. Added plus 10% hardness to motorized from the first level of mechanized tech. So now that they're gonna have a hardness, a 10% hardness to those motorized. Bomber and close air support aces now use better bonus modifiers for attacking. Added a hard cap for nations to become majors, so there are 35 factories that are going to be needed, and this should avoid wars dragging into a whack-a-mole of the new major as you blob. As you keep attacking these countries, and yeah, you're attempting to get a peace treaty done, and then you have to keep fighting every single country because they now are considered a major. Now there is a hard cap for those nations. Rebalance air superiority boost for some air doctrines. Now in the original patch notes, they actually specifically stated which ones they boosted, but I just put that in there. You know, some of them are better air superiority, some of them are not as good. Reduced base free repair from 0.5 IC to 0.3 IC. So essentially, that means that, you know, when your factories get damaged, or when anything gets damaged, infrastructure or whatever, air base, naval base, when those get damaged, they repair on their own. Well, now they're going to repair considerably slower, guys. That's 40% slower, guys. So yeah, that's a big deal. So it's going to take a lot longer for those things to repair themselves, which actually makes strategic bombing. That's kind of a buff to strategic bombing as well. Reduced agility of naval bombers to 30, 35, and 40. So naval bombers will no longer have such a high agility. This is the same case of close air support. They have been moved from 35, 39 to 44. We've also had the air attack of close air support and naval bombers reduced to 6, 10, and 14. This is just to make the bombers not as effective at fighting fighters, which is ridiculous. Fighters, sometimes you lose a lot of fighters when they're just fighting bombers. So this should make it easier to shoot down specifically the naval bombers and the close air support. Your fighters should be able to overwhelm them a lot easier, maybe take less casualties. Brought carrier plane agility in line with the land-based versions. Carriers can no longer reinforce with fresh planes while in combat. That's pretty crazy that they're in combat and they're getting new planes rushed to them, I guess, regardless of where they're at. So yeah, that has been changed. Added a small amount of threat to more imperialist parts of the U.S. foreign policy focus tree branch. So when they go imperialist, you know, often as a fascist or whatever, that is going to be adding threat, so the people will actually get concerned about America and what they're doing over there. And of course, that's only going to be in like alternate history scenarios. Nerfed Raj tech level at start. We've already seen that. India starts with much less tech. Yeah, but that's a big deal for if you want to play as India. Reduced Chinese civilian start IC by 1, so that basically they have 1 less civilian factory. And if you're wondering why they call them IC on the patch notes and you don't see that in the game, that's actually from Hearts of Iron 3, which stood for industrial capacity. They don't really see that here in Hearts of Iron 4. Nerfed French starting armor equipment in 1936 into the bleep ground. I'm guessing that's into the fucking ground, and they didn't want to put that on their patch notes. But yeah, their starting armor equipment is not going to be as good. Germany no longer allowed to pull Turkey into their faction after they have capitulated. No fun allowed. So that's it for the balance changes. And pretty much all that's left is the bug fixes, stability, and performance. I'm not going to go into this guys. The bug fixes, basically they fixed a lot of bugs. Hopefully they fixed any ones that you may have countered if you reported them. They probably did. But yeah, if you ever run into bugs on any Paradox game, always go onto the forums or wherever. I'm sure you can report them on Steam as well. Always report those so that they get them fixed. But yeah, they fixed a bunch of bugs. Big old long list of bugs. They also improved the stability and the performance a lot, which is fantastic, especially for those of you who are having performance issues. And they fixed a whole crap ton of CTDs, crash to desktops. So hopefully you should encounter that less. I don't think I've ever had it crash to desktop myself, but if you have had that issue, yeah, that's great. Should be fixed. So that is it, guys. That's the 3 pages of patch notes. We covered pretty much all the major stuff and many minor things as well. Whole bunch of huge changes. I'm really excited to be playing on this patch. I've had it for a few days now. I'm really enjoying it. I love the changes. This game has just, in my eyes, just gotten so much better, and it's already a fantastic game. So yeah, I want to hear your guys' opinions on these patch notes, on these changes. How's this going to be changing strategies? I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. So please post comment. Let me know what you're thinking. Do you like these changes? Are there any ones that you don't like? What's your favorite one? Just because I love talking to you guys. I love talking to you guys in the comments, and I love talking about Hearts of Iron because Hearts of Iron is awesome. And yeah, I would love to also hear what do you guys think about how this is going to be changing changing our strategies, our tactics, and what we need to, when we're playing single player against the AI, what do we need to be aware of? What do we need to be thinking about when it comes to these changes? So yeah, please post a comment because I want to talk to you guys. Also, if you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, please leave a like. Also, consider subscribing to the channel. I do these patch notes for Hearts of Iron and for Stellaris for all of the major patches, considering even perhaps doing them for some other Paradox games. So if you like these, make sure you don't ever miss them when they come out by subscribing to the channel. We also have a lot of other great content. This is actually coming out before this video should hopefully come out a little bit before the DLC comes out. So if you're so excited for it and you just want to see it, I also have a Let's Play going on right now. We're playing with Australia, and I'm going to go ahead and put the link to that in the description of the video, perhaps, or maybe into the comments. I'm not sure. It'll be somewhere that you can get access to it. Maybe you want to come follow along as we're playing as Australia in Together for Victory. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful, and thanks for watching, guys.